Hi. Another review coming up this time. I was going to make Hunter the Vigil, but I thought I would make the core rules book instead. So this is the game, World of Darkness. Unlike the old version of World of Darkness, the new one has a separate book for core rules. In the old games you would have the core rules in each of the different lineups, like Vampire, Werewolf and Wraith. They would, in my opinion, waste a lot of pages by reprinting the same core rules over and over. But here, in the new lineup, we have a separate core rule book, which is, let's see, over 200 pages, 223 pages. It's reasonably priced at €25, and it functions perfectly fine as its own game. You don't need to buy the new Vampire or the new Werewolf unless you're actually planning to run that specific game. You can run Mortals, which is what this is. This is where the player characters are normal folks. I mean, they might have exceptional talents and a huge amount of contacts and a lot of skill, but they're still human beings. This is a game of adult personal horror, and it does that really well. The stories you can tell with this game are pretty varied, and this core book helps you a lot. This is the table of contents. I don't know if you can see any detail, but yeah, there's an entire chapter at the end of the book called Storytelling. It's aimed at the storyteller who will be developing the plot, and it talks about different themes, how to create a certain mood, how to role play out certain non-player characters, and how to really draw the players in with certain hooks. It's very good. Now, a word about the layout. Unlike the old World of Darkness books, which were they weren't bad in the layout department, but they were pretty, I don't know, always felt a bit scattered to me, like the information was all over the place. Some of the new World of Darkness books suffer from this as well, but I think this core rule book is excellent layout wise. All the art is black and white, and chapters have these little stories attached to them that evoke a certain feel. This first chapter is called The Secret History, and as you can see, this first page here is like a, well, not a short story, but yeah, kind of. There's margins with quotes and in some parts page numbers as well. Yeah, you can run a lot of different types of games with this, but most of it is horror oriented because the characters are normal humans and they have to face some pretty heinous odds, like, you know, paranormal threats and even other human beings, and in this game, it's really tough if you get shot. Because even if you survive, the time for recuperation is so long that usually you're out of the game at that point and you have to make a new character if you want to, unless the story is about to end, or the story is about to take like half a year hiatus in the game world. Yeah, the rules have been improved quite a bit. It's still a dice pool system like the old one, but here the difficulty is static. You always roll a 10-sided die against a difficulty number of 8. So 8 or better, you get a success. If you roll a 10 or a 0, that is, you get to roll again. So the dice explode. And there are of course modifiers to the dice pool, but never the difficulty. In some cases you get modifiers like 8 again or 9 again, so that if you roll a 9 on the dice and it's a 9 again modifier, like with certain guns, then you roll 9s and 10s again, and if they come up 9 or 10 again, then there you go. The core book is pretty wide open, as I said, and the world it describes is not clearly defined. It's like our world except different, so that even when the players read through this book with the game master, they can't be exactly sure what's actually a supernatural threat in the game. They can never be quite certain what things mean until they go and discover things for themselves, until they investigate. And this is one of the things that I love about this type of system, where there's uncertainty which breeds horror, and horror breeds uncertainty, and so on. Yeah, it's one of my favorite games. The rules are simple now and easy to follow. Character generation is simple, but again diverse. I mean, you can create a lot of different types of characters with it. The only clear downside for this core book is the fact that it has no learning how to roleplay chapter. It does have a glossary for the terms used in this game. Some, I think, was around page 30. Yeah, glossary. Storytelling rules summary is one spread like so. Here we have explained things like dice, traits, modifiers, dice pool. It's a simple enough game that someone completely new to the role-playing game could read this and get the gist of it. It's just that there are no clear examples of play at the beginning of the book. No like character examples, like this is this type of person and this is how it was created. Nothing like that. But luckily the rules are simple enough to get a grasp on without any, I would say without any outside help actually. Someone completely new to the hobby could be reading this and get into it. And this is actually helped quite a bit, because before we get to these storytelling rules summary character creation, which is again just 2 pages, but I mean this is like the quick rules. Yeah, here we have go to this and this page for skills and so on, and then there's the glossary here, 1 pages, 2 pages as well. But these are preceded by the, I guess you would call it the story intro. There's the prologue and the secret history chapter, with very like nice art, and again little tidbits like short stories. There is an example of play, but it's at the very end of the book after the combat chapter. It starts here on page 182, and it's actually there. It's not really an example of play, it's more about combat, just combat. There's no role playing here. At the end of the book is the Storyteller's chapter, like I said, and it's pretty good because it doesn't waste a lot of pages on things that are not immediately useful to the storyteller, especially to a new storyteller. But there are, like here, one of the better parts starts here. It says how to tell stories, and it has under it gaming environment, music, props, pacing. It's great. Someone completely new to this can get a good idea on what to do and what not to do. And I like this, it says at the end of all these advice, it says bottom line, have fun. Whether you're playing the game correctly, don't worry about it. There's no wrong way to do it, there's just the way everybody wants to. Everyone wants to around the table, that is. Yeah. This book also has, at the very end of the Storyteller's chapter, some possible adversaries, poltergeists, just animals like bats. Then there are the non-combatants like homeless guys, combatants like police officers and monster hunters. Overall, it's a lot of bang for your buck. And White Wolf actually did a decent index for one there. I would say that for €25 or even less if you buy it used or something, it's a great game. And if you're not sure on whether you want to really invest into the World of Darkness or not, whether you really want to start playing Vampire or Hunter or Werewolf or any of those other new lineups, I would recommend that you get the core book and try it out. Run a simple Mortals game and see what kind of stories you can come up and how the group feels about the rules. And if people like it, then you might consider taking maybe those same characters and transferring them to your lineup of choice, whether it's Hunter or Vampire or whatever, because in those games the character creation starts by making a basic character in World of Darkness core. So you could, for example, start with a group of, I don't know, neighborhood watchdogs, just average people with families. Something weird starts happening, like they notice that some of the homeless people around their area have just disappeared. Maybe they find some remains somewhere and it's like, oh God, what's happening? They go to the authorities, they don't care. They don't have the resources, so they decide, okay, let's see what's going on here. And they go for an adventure. Those that survive could later on be transported into Hunter the Vigil, where they're formerly just concerned parents and neighbors become hunters themselves. So yeah, that's one possibility. I think that's about it. I'm going to be reviewing some of the other line of games as well, but I definitely recommend the core book. It's well worth the money. Yeah. Thanks.